And Mark, let's move on into the next topic, still staying in the draft because basically from here until the end of April, we're in draft mode. There was an interesting thing that went on this week. I don't know if you saw it, but Rob Gronkowski, I don't know if you've heard of his name, Rob Gronkowski.
That guy, he's a receiving weapon, I think, right?
Yeah, Mr. Party Boy over here wants to party all the time. Announced his retirement.
My girl likes to party all the time, too.
He is no longer going to be with the New England Patriots. The thing I want to look at is, first off, just real quickly.
He's no longer going to be with football.
Yeah,
not
no
just
longer
the Patriots.
with football. My question to you is just real quickly before we get into the draft part of this is, what was your thought when you saw that Rob Gronkowski was retiring from football?
My thought was, yeah, I know. We've been talking about this for about 3 years now. He's been saying he was going to retire for like 3 years.
All the surgeries,
right? And it's also that. It's also good. You should retire because you are falling apart. And he also wants to try and launch that acting career.
Yeah.
So he wants to be the next Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
You know where he's going to be in about,
or John Cena.
You know where he's going to be in 2 weeks. He's going to be in New York. He's going to be at WrestleMania.
Oh,
he is going to.
I didn't know that.
Like Ronda Rousey leaves, Gronk comes in.
I don't necessarily see. I mean, maybe he does. I don't know. I don't pay attention. I don't see him going to WWE. I see him just trying to act like. I mean, like John Cena or like The Rock.
I say that because he's been at WrestleManias before and has that relationship. But I do find it funny that both Conor McGregor
I was gonna say there's an opening in
MMA. They both retire, and the WWE isn't afraid to take retired MMA and or football players and make them WWE wrestlers. And
did that many retared football players become WWE wrestlers?
Dude, Roman Reigns used to play for the Vikings.
I don't know. I don't watch wrestling.
I think it was Roman Reigns used to play for the Vikings way back in the day. One of the, Mohawk from something Warriors, Attitude Era, used to be. They're usually like offensive and defensive linemen. But yeah, no, a lot of guys Brock Lesnar used to be a football player.
Brock Lesnar played for like a down. Exactly. Doesn't count.
These are guys that weren't like big stars.
That's my point, though. You don't get Rob
Gronkowski
to go play,
but they could.
Rob Gronkowski doesn't need to put his body out on that.
Dude, they could. Though.
He can just go be a cushy actor.
Gronk could be the next Brock, though. Think about it. He could be the next part-timer that just comes out and it's his personality. He don't have to put his body on the line. That's a conversation for a different day, though, because what I wanted to do is take this conversation of Gronk retiring and put it into the kind of retrospect of what does it mean for Noah Fant and T.J. Hockenson. These are two guys that have been all over draft boards. I don't think you and I have bought in on the hype for T.J. Hockenson that others have. Like a Todd McShay has him in the top 10.
Yeah, it's a little much.
I don't know if he goes top 10. You had Hockenson in our last mock draft. You had Hockenson at 32 to the Patriots. You had Noah Fant. Where's Noah Fant? You had him 19 to the Titans, where I only had Noah Fant in my first round, and that was to the Raiders at 27. I want to ask you, though, with Gronk retiring, how does this affect, or will it affect, Noah Fant and T.J. Hockenson and where they go in the NFL draft?
Well, I think it affects it in the sense of 100% both these guys are going in the first round now. There's no doubt in anyone's mind that they are. There's plenty of teams that could use a tight end. And at least at 32 for the Patriots, it was kind of like a sure thing. They'll draft one of them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I sit there and I also think if it's not just a mock drafting for mock drafts purposes, basically, because I said that confusingly on purpose, if it's not just like, I want to have T.J. Hockenson go number 1 overall because I want to have it happen and I'm going to make it happen. No one's done that, but I'm sure someone will someday, right? If you're just going to put him in the top 10 to do it in there, that's one thing. But if you're putting him in the top 10 because you truly have heard and there truly is belief that GMs are willing to draft this guy in the top 10, which I don't really think is the case. But if it is, then sure. But otherwise, I don't really believe it. But either way, I still think there are enough teams that will be willing to take. If you can tell me that especially with some nostalgia of Gronkowski just retiring, if you can tell me that I can get the next Rob Gronkowski, then yeah, sure, I'll take a flyer on that in the first round. Mm-hmm. I'll do it if I'm a top 20 pick. Sure, why not?
Yeah. Especially with what we've heard from Noah Fant side of like he's the athletic guy, Hockenson's the production guy from Iowa.
But here's my problem with it is how many times now have teams tried to draft the next Rob Gronkowski? Mm-hmm. And how many next Rob Gronkowskis do we actually have? None.
It's kind of like drafting the next Tom Brady.
Yeah.
It's slim to none.
In every draft, we say, like, here's the next Rob Gronkowski. We always find that tight end that could be it. And every time they try and do it, it doesn't really work out. So I sit there and I wonder about it. I'm like, are these two tight ends from Iowa really going to become the next Rob Gronkowski? I mean, he's probably... If you're not going to say the greatest tight end of all time, he's at the very least the second greatest tight end of all time. Because I know everybody wanted to have that debate too. So he's at least the best or second best. So that's like exactly what you're saying with Tom Brady. That's like going out there and saying, I'm going to go out and just draft me the next Tom Brady or Montana. That's probably not going to happen. Let's be honest about that. It's hard enough to draft the next, pick somebody who only won one. Even pick somebody who hasn't won any. It's hard enough to go out there and draft a Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, to get the next Tom Brady.
I'm sitting here, though, and I am thinking to myself where, to me, there's 5 teams now that this affects. And those teams, the first 3 are like the immediate, like if there was, let's say, a bomb went off.
Yeah.
The first 3 are in the dead zone. The other 2 are just outside of the dead zone. Like, you know what? This kind of affects us, but whoa, at least we weren't by that blast. It's a weird analogy to use, but I used it anyways. And the ones that are in the red zone are the Patriots, the Raiders, and the Packers. I'm going to flip Raiders and Packers. Patriots, Packers, and Raiders. And the reason why I say that is...
I don't know why you're flipping the Packers. The Raiders have 3 picks above the Packers.
I'm saying how much
the Packers
they need a tight end.
The Packers have 2 picks. I forgot about that.
But how much they need a tight end. Like the Patriots, their tight ends now are Steven Anderson, Matt LaCosse, Illinois, throw it out there, Jacob Hollister, Ryan Izzo. Those are their tight ends right now with Gronk being gone. They need one desperately. The Packers... They have Jimmy Graham. They have Mercedes Lewis. However, Jimmy Graham hasn't been Jimmy Graham since he's been in Green Bay. Mercedes Lewis, how much are we really expecting out of him in a Packer uniform?
You mean in New Orleans for Jimmy Graham? He hasn't been the same since he's been in New Orleans.
Well, he was in Seattle after New Orleans. And
but
that's
even
when
so,
the Packers
Seattle wasn't.
You're right. New Orleans was the one where he really made his name.
The
he
pass
hasn't been Jimmy
receiving
Graham.
option.
Basically, to throw and Dave, I know you're watching. Dave used to always joke around with this really harsh joke because me and him made a trade in fantasy the one year. I gave him Jimmy Graham, and then he gave me Gronk, and I won the fantasy football league. And Dave says, well, the reason why that Jimmy Graham didn't produce is he must have slept with Drew Brees' wife, and that's why Drew Brees didn't throw to him. Ever since that year, Jimmy Graham hasn't been Jimmy Graham. So I'm not expecting anything out of him. The Packers need someone. And then I look at the Raiders. They've got, Lee Smith, Derek Carrier, Darren Waller, and then Paul Butler. All 3 of those teams desperately need tight ends. 2 on the outside. The Lions, because they run a 2 tight end set, they have Jesse James, but really, who do they have behind him? And then the Jaguars, they run a 2 tight end set also. I'm looking at the depth chart. And their main guys are Jeff Sweam, Ben Koyak, Pharaoh McCleaver, and James O'Shaughnessy.
It's a lot of names.
You like those names? Because I never heard any of them. That's the point. And to me, I feel like yes, it affects the Packers. They might have to take 12th overall. The Patriots are like, shit, we might have to trade up.
They're not going to trade up. They can't. They don't trade up. It's the Patriots.
But if one of them is there later on, I could see them trading up for one. But they might not be able to take one at 32, either Fant or Hockenson, because now with Gronk retiring, I could see a team like Jacksonville or the Lions going, shoot, I expected one of these guys to fall to the second round and us to take them. He's not going to be here at the
Or
second
just
round.
for
Let's
them,
take him.
I think the fact of Gronk retiring is making everybody have the rose-colored glasses. Not that he's not amazing; he's a Hall of Famer, but for everyone to go, "Oh yeah, Gronkowski's amazing. We want to get one of those." The other thing too, though, it would be a very Patriot. It's too obvious of a thing. I feel like for the Patriots to go, Gronkowski retires, we draft a tight end.
Yeah,
it feels too obvious. So I actually kind of think there's a part of me that says Bill Belichick doesn't play that way. Bill Belichick will still say, "No, we'll just trade back." They could both be available, and Bill Belichick could say, "No, we'll trade back," because that's the thing they do. They might just pick something else, and part of that too is Rob Gronkowski was nothing really, before he was getting the ball thrown to him by Tom Brady. Not that he had really another option. And how many wide receivers have been nothing before Tom Brady threw them the ball and they played in Bill Belichick's system? If any team can turn a no-name tight end into a great tight end, it's going to be the Patriots. And I'm not saying that's the case with Rob Gronkowski. I don't want to make anybody angry. But they can turn somebody into a Rob Gronkowski light pretty easily.
Question for you. I know he's come out and said no because the Patriots traded for Michael Bennett, brother to Martellus Bennett. I know a week ago. Martellus Bennett said, "Nope, I'm not coming out of retirement." The exact was, "I would love to play ball with my brother. It would truly be a dream come true, but my biggest dream is to change lives with my creativity, and that is what I'm currently doing."
What is he currently doing?
I don't know.
Okay.
Is there currently a chance that the Patriots may say, "Hey, Gronk's not here. Are you sure you don't want to play with your brother?"
I think they could.
Is that now a opportunity for him to change his mind and say, "You know what,
I wouldn't be surprised if they were saying, "Hey, we can offer you a little bit more money now," or something like that.
Because now Gronk's retired.
And I think that, in addition to that, too, I don't trust anything that a Martellus Bennett is going to tell me. I don't trust anything either Bennett brother will say.
I was going to say, I think that's what you meant to say. A Bennett, not a Martellus Bennett.
But I don't trust anything Martellus Bennett tells me either, especially. But for both of them, I don't really trust. If they tell me I'm retiring, that's Brett Favre to me. Yeah. I just don't want to play in training camp. The other side of it, too, is, let's remember, Martellus Bennett's the guy who told the Patriots, "Oh, no, I'm too hurt to play. I couldn't possibly go out onto the field and play right now. Oh, you guys are going to cut me? Cool, I'll play over here."
Yeah.
He just wanted to be off that team. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does come out.
Where do you think now Noah Fant and Hockenson go because of this? And what team do you think they'll
I easily could see Packers and Raiders both jumping on it. Makes sense to me. I don't know about number 12 overall for the Packers. That would be a tough one. It's not impossible, but I can definitely see it.
Just depends on who's
think
there.
The team that we're kind of missing in the discussion is the team I had them going with for Noah Fant was 19 overall or 18 overall.
The Titans. The Titans need one. Vikings could take one, although I don't see them going with tight end in the first round.
Vikings need to finally draft an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
At some point. I don't know. Maybe you want to protect some stuff.
I think it was in Mel Kiper. He had Jonah Williams fall to us, and I was like, I'll take it.
Dream come true.
I don't think it'll happen, but I'll take it.
Maybe he'll have a bong picture come out, too.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Or maybe there'll be like a story of him with a gun or something, or something. Something. I'm telling you, something's going to come out about somebody the day of the draft, and somebody's fallen because we've had it the last few years.
It's effective, and we all know that
and it's going to be a top 10 pick.
Well, we all know the people finding these things are the teams themselves. They're putting the dirt out there because they want the player, and they want to.
It's like
have
they want
him
to fall to us.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they do it. It's easy. You just put something out there at the last minute and hope that he falls all the way to 10, 12, whatever it might be.
The thing with the Packers, now that I'm looking at it, I think that this, and by this meaning Gronk's retirement, I think there's a really good chance they do take a tight end at 12.
It would work.
Because I know BPA is still an option, but if I'm looking
Someone say that is BPA.
If I'm looking at their needs, the first one is tight end, which that's what I would have them draft. Then if I go off of my mock draft, which obviously is going to change by the time in a couple weeks when we get to the 6.0. But the next offensive tackle I would have is Juwan Taylor, who went 13. I would take Noah Fant over Juwan Taylor if I was really needing a tight end. Then safety, inside linebacker, and wide receiver. I'm not taking a safety that high. Inside linebacker is interesting because if Devin White falls to them, I would easily take Devin White. Noah Fant would not even be an option for me. Devin White could be there. Even Devin Bush could be there, both inside linebackers. And then wide receiver. Do you like a Marquise Hollywood Brown? Do you like a DK Metcalf? Is he there at that point? Has he fallen? So, I mean, there's some stuff to where the Packers don't have to go tight end, but if the right players are off the board, like a Devin White or a DK Metcalf, I could see the Packers at 12 going, hey, for us, we need that tight end. We are not good unless Aaron Rodgers has weapons to throw to, and Noah Fant would be a hell of a weapon for even, you know what, I keep saying Noah Fant or Hockenson to the Packers would be good. Just somebody to soak up some receptions at the tight end position for Aaron Rodgers this season, because they got a tough test week 1. They're going to play the Bears first game of the season, and it ain't going to be like that matchup we saw on Sunday Night Football last year, because guess what? Khalil Mack is now used to playing on that Bear team, and it's not his first day in a Bear uniform.
Yeah, and the Packers loaded up on defense in free agency.
Mm-hmm. And last year in the draft, taking the 2 corners.
They can go ahead and say, all right, we're ready to give Aaron Rodgers some weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of need to. So I definitely think that these tight ends for sure are going to be, first-round draft picks. I don't really buy the top 10 thing right now, but I definitely think in those teens they easily could go.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of teams, because just to look at, and I'm not saying these teams are definitely going to draft a tight end, but there's a lot of teams that need a tight end. The Cardinals need a tight end. The Jets have it in their top 5 needs. The Raiders have it in their top 3. Jags in top 3, Lions in top 5. The Bills have it. The Broncos have it. The Bengals have it. The Packers have it. We're going down a little bit. The Vikings have it. Titans have it. There's a lot of teams that have tight end. The Texans, I'm just going to go through them all. The Texans, the Packers again, and then the Patriots. So a lot of teams that need a tight end. The one guy I want to bring up here at the end, though, because it's Hockenson. Let's say Hockenson and Fant go early. Is there a chance that a Smith Jr., an Irv Smith Jr. from Alabama, can sneak into the first round now if Fant and Hockenson go too early?
We're not going to have 3 tight ends go in the first round. It's not going to happen.
There's a lot of people, and mock drafts are mock drafts for a reason. But there's a lot of people kind of like, oh, Hockenson and Fant are gone. He sneaks in at 32 to the Patriots.
Teams don't do that. They don't go purely off of, all right, we got to go to the 3rd best tight end who's probably number 100 on the big board just because we need a tight end. There's going to be, if you're number 32 overall, in theory, there should be players who are in the 25 to 30 range at least in the big board that are available because somebody reached.
And the draftnetwork.com has Irv Smith as a 3 out of 5 star draft prospect.
Yeah. So just let that sink in.
Well, I think it's interesting, though, only because I'm not saying I would do it if I'm the Patriots, but I could see it happening. He's not an explosive tight end. He's more of a route runner. But how much and the Patriots, of course, are not a team of like, we got to do this. They kind of do what they believe in, and they go with their gut. I will say the Patriots, like I mentioned earlier, how they might not be trading because they need a tight end. Well, if both of them are gone, I could see if the Giants called, they would say, well, there's nothing for us here. Yes,
I still think there's a good chance they just don't draft a tight end and they draft something else. It's the Patriots. They do what they want. You can't try and predict what they do.
Because right now there are, and of course Tankathon is different than everyone else, there are, 6 tight ends that they have listed. T.J. Hockenson's at 18 on their big board. Noah Fant, number 2. He's the 24th overall. Irv Smith is the 39th. He's at number 3. Caden Smith out of Stanford, 85. Jay Sternberger, the 86th out of Texas A&M, and then Caleb Wilson, the tight end out of UCLA, is the last ranked tight end at 92. Any final thoughts on this at all? There something you think we didn't touch about with any of these teams or any of these prospects?
I would be shocked if 3 tight ends go in the first round.
If both Smith, Hockenson, and Fant all went.
It doesn't matter who they are. I'll be shocked if three go in the first round.
I could see it happening only if Fant and Hockenson go so high in the Patriots fall in love with
this draft would forever be used as the reason why you don't just draft a player because everybody wants the next Gronk or whoever. Because the odds are 2 of these guys fizzle into nothing at least.
I mean, maybe.
There was such high praise for Eric Ebron. And Eric Ebron has been on to what, 4 teams, 3 teams?
He was good.
No,
a little bit. Like,
not really.
I remember having him in fantasy one year.
He wasn't really that good.
Let's see, Eric Ebron. I'm gonna look up his.
He's
stats
on the Colts
really
now, right?
Yeah, I think I had him on the Colts for a week.
He
or
did
two.
fine on the Colts. The Colts has probably been his best place.
So the Colts was his best place. His best year in Detroit was that 2016 season where he had 711 yards, 11 yards per reception, but only had 1 touchdown that year.
Bet he was worth that top 10 pick.
Yeah, the most touchdowns he's ever had was with Indy, where he had 13 this past year.
It's just one of those things, and it's not just picking on Eric Ebron. It's just
he was just the name that came to mind.
Yeah, people just get hyped about these type of things. It's just make a smarter choice. Don't just go, oh, we really, really need to maybe get a Gronkowski, so we're going to go with the 3rd best tight end in the first round.
Let's see. I'm going through 2016 because these are guys that are still young, but the first tight end off the board that year, 2nd round, Hunter Henry.
There you go.
Austin Hooper. Yet again, these are guys that are like not the next Gronk.
Yep.
Wow, there was not a lot of tight ends taken in that draft. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you guys think. Does Gronk's retirement play into the tight ends in their draft at all? Does it affect where Noah Fant goes? Does it affect where T.J. Hockenson goes? Does it move Irv Smith into the first round at all? If you're Packers, Patriots, Raiders, Giants, anybody that or Lions, Jaguars that need a tight end, let us know what you guys think as well. Packer fans, I want to know how early would you take a tight end? Patriot fans, would you move up in the first round to get a tight end after losing Gronk? I want to know what you guys are thinking down below in that comment section.